You're about to meet a woman who took her idea from the drawing table and made it happen.
Sara Blakely, who turned $5,000 of her own savings into an empire.
She did it through innovation, grit, and a sense of humor.
Celebrities around the world have sang Spanx praises.
Spanx, it's my dream come true. If you keep the Spanx on, it'll all work out.
I've given up panties, so wear Spanx. That's more information than y'all need to know.
This is an entrepreneur. Turned their invention into a must-have in every woman's closet.
They're ubiquitous, and they've sold millions.
In 2012, Spanx founder Sara Blakely became the youngest self-made female billionaire.
Sara was recognized as one of Time 100's most influential people in the world.
Sara Blakely, the Michael Jordan of women's underwear. The company's expanding its brand with an eye toward comfort.
She's the reason you have to be bullish on America.
Sold. We got a deal.
Sara's always pushing herself out of her comfort zone.
Cheers. Sara Blakely admits she's not your typical CEO. She's bringing balanced feminine energy into business.
Sara is sharing her success by empowering women around the world. She started with an idea and has built an industry. She's a game changer.
I started Spanx as a frustrated consumer. I had no experience. I had $5,000 set aside in savings. I'd never worked in fashion. I'd never worked in retail, and I had never taken a business class. I just simply wanted to be able to wear white pants to a party and have nothing show underneath it. And my very first product became footless pantyhose that transformed how women wore clothes and filled a much needed gap between sort of the heavy duty girdle and the thong. And that's how most entrepreneurs get started. They either A, solve a problem or make something better. One of the most common misconceptions of entrepreneurs is that we had it all figured out before we even took the leap. That is not the case at all. We figured it out along the way, and so can you. So in this class, we're going to talk about developing the mindset that helped me start and grow Spanx for the past 20 years. And it's going to talk about how you can find your purpose, how to make a product, how to market a product, and how to sell a product, how to create a business culture and build a team, and in what order to build a team, and truly just how to take any idea from the idea stage to the market. Because raising capital wasn't part of my journey, this course is not going to cover the nuts and bolts of how to raise capital. This is a how to roll up your sleeves, get out there, and make something happen on your own course. It's about anybody out there who may or may not be able to afford business school, who may be on the fence and thinking, do I really have what it takes? I didn't go to school for this. I don't have experience. I don't have a ton of money. I hope that you're tuning in and you're seeing me, and I become the example that you needed to say, check, yes, you can. I'm Sara Blakely, and this is my masterclass. For me, my purpose was that I want to serve women. I felt very inspired to make products for women better. The people making undergarments for women weren't doing it through the lens of how we felt. They weren't super inspired to say, I'm worried about how does she feel in this? So I stood up and said, I'll be the advocate for women. I just know there's gotta be a better way to make all this stuff. We don't have to be as miserable as we are. We don't have to be as uncomfortable as we are. Let me just try it and see what happens. Before I started Spanx, I had no idea. It had never dawned on me who was making my undergarments. And when I set out to do this journey, I ended up at manufacturing plants in North Carolina, and everyone that I talked to was a man. And then it dawned on me, oh, okay, maybe this is why our undergarments have been so uncomfortable. Maybe it's because the people making them aren't spending all day in them. And if they are not admitting it. So it made it very challenging to get this product made. I remember the moment specifically that I was standing in the manufacturing plants, surrounded by men who make our undergarments. And I thought, I don't have the most experience. I don't have the most money, but I do care the most. And let me see what happens if I care the most. It's important to know your purpose when you're on an entrepreneurial journey, because if you start with why and you stay connected to the why, that's gonna fuel you. That's gonna fuel you through this very intense, very difficult journey. I mean, you wanna talk about a roller coaster. You're up, you're down, you're on the biggest high ever, you just landed the deal, then you just lost the deal. Then you just invented something and then somebody else came out with it and it's this, it's like, it is one big wild ride. But if you have a purpose and it's bigger than yourself and you're connected to the why, you'll survive the ups and downs and you'll also enjoy it more. It's like an anchor. It's the important anchor. Finding your purpose is oftentimes a very daunting thing. It's like, what is my purpose? I don't know. Where do I go to look for it? And anytime someone would say to me, well, what's your purpose? It would stress me out. But what I realized is that purpose is simply three things. It's the intersection of what do you enjoy, what are you good at, and how do you want to serve the world? And once I started narrowing those three buckets down, that helped me very much in my purpose. So if you're looking for your purpose, I would suggest that you get out a piece of paper and write down a list of what brings you joy and start to prioritize that list. But there's probably 2 or 3 things on there that you really would circle and say, this really brings me joy. And then I would ask yourself to make a list of what are you good at? And when I started this journey, my list of what I was good at was pretty much sales. I had one thing in my good column that I knew I could count on. What is it for you? And then as far as how do you want to serve the world, another way to ask yourself that is what breaks your heart? There's so many different ways to go about this. Certainly, I've seen people who aren't so connected to purpose that have started a business and they raise a ton of money, throw a bunch of money at it, and usually get in and out quickly. And so there are different ways to go about it. Spanx didn't advertise for 16 years. We became a global brand without advertising. And we did that through this really deep connection that we had through the consumer. And I attribute a lot of it to being connected to purpose.